Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about having Pisces on the cusp of the third house in a natal chart. Now, the third house in astrology governs communications, siblings, short journeys, early education, neighbors, transportation, and assimilating information. Now, the sign on the cusp of the house can give characteristics to that house and qualities to the manner of communication. Now, planets in the third house can flavor the house, and the house where the ruler of the third house is in may show the sector of life where the third house energy is deposited or injected into. Now, if someone also has transits, progressions, well, especially if the person has an empty or vacant third house in their natal chart, well, this could be indicate more activity in matters pertaining to the third house at that point in time of the transits and or progressions. So anyway, people, first thing I'll look at, somebody has Pisces on the cusp of the third house. This could indicate somebody that, as far as their manner of communication or ways they think, they can be often used perhaps the insightful, intuitive side. Sometimes their communication might be a little convoluted or chaotic. They may do their best thinking in kind of like when they're kind of isolated and by themselves in solitude or seclusion, more so than the average person even. This could indicate they may need to be careful perhaps of deception from someone. At the same time, the fact that they may have strong intuitive prowess, they may be able to see duplicity in others if they use that part of them very strongly. If they don't, then that increases the chances, of course, of being beguiled and deceived in matters with communication. Now, the third house also governs the siblings, so this could be somebody that shows a lot of compassion and idealism in connection with siblings. The danger here is that perhaps if they have a sibling, if applicable, or siblings, that they may delude maybe one or more of them and may not always see the negative or the transgressions or shortcomings and just try to see only the good. So there is a danger as far as that goes. But this person, as far as talking, may talk about matters pertaining to self-sacrifice, to people that are less fortunate than him or her, such as the oppressed, the impoverished, the homeless. This person may show these compassionate, idealistic qualities, perhaps in their neighbors, in their general neighborhood with their neighbors, showing that self-sacrificing type Pisces ability, showing that philanthropy with them, that philanthropic nature. The early education, perhaps for some people that have Pisces on the third house cusp, may have been a little bit challenging, perhaps due to the fact that when you're in school you have to be adaptable to a kind of a consistent schedule, and it's possible that this person may not always have been able to do that, because Pisces is a sign associated with chaos, and it's the antithesis of Virgo, and Virgo is very more systematic and organized. However, if Mercury is exalted or in its dignity by sign and or house position, then this person may have a little better time in doing so, as far as getting on that, or maybe a little bit more organized, that the mind's a little bit more organized due to a better Mercury placement. Then perhaps that will pan out in their, as far as in their early education, and apply that to the scholastic matters. So anyway, also we look at the third house as associated with short journeys. Well, perhaps this person may often fantasize about going certain places, but maybe not always follow up on them. They may, this could be somebody that might take trips to places that are connected with the metaphysical, maybe mysticism even, perhaps things metaphysical can even include astrology, perhaps things of a spiritual nature. They may go to some metaphysical fair, for example, or store that sells books in connection with spirituality, the metaphysical thing, books that are mystical, perhaps places that are maybe that like bookstores even that sell fantasy books, which almost pretty much all of them do anyway. So this could be or even like a place kind of like even like an amusement park, like a fantasy park. Go into like a Disneyland or something, going into perhaps being in areas that maybe have things that are like fantasy, like, I mean, you have Disneyland, I guess you have Goofy and Mickey Mouse running around in costumes, and a mouse that can talk, and so, you know, I think you get what I'm saying. But these are some things to look at as far as somebody that has Pisces on the cusp of the third house goes. Now, when we look at the third house, it's connected with transportation as well, and there might be something as far as things connected with transportation, perhaps something with the person's vehicle, or maybe there's some ambivalence in where this person wants to go. Sometimes there might be some confusion, maybe their ideas are nebulous or hazy where as far as where they want to go. Maybe this person experiences problems with the vehicles that are somewhat enigmatic, mysterious, or somewhat obscure, and there's something cloudy maybe about this. Maybe this person in isolated cases may be deceived or beguiled as far as matters connected with auto repair, for example. So these are some things to look at as far as Pisces on the cusp of the third house goes. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Pisces on the cusp of the third house in the natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about the fourth house in astrology. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.